2 months, we in GSPL has found a significant change in the purchase orders placed by most of the infrastructure industries. This is very good sign, because each time you see in the newspapers, you will find that the steel is not doing good. Yes, one sector of steel is not doing good that is automobile. But infrastructure has started picking up. We are getting n number of orders from the high-rise building, from railway, from shipbuilding industry, from power transmission industry. We are flooded with orders. We are unable to meet out their demand as of now. The only sector which is under stress is today, that is rebars, because the civil construction has to start. I think mining can definitely play a very, very vital role in the growth of this country. I'll not take too much of your time, just I'll conclude with 2 sentences. One, 300 million ton is possible. 2, we have to make industry enable to produce this 300 million ton. We have to bring FDI also in steel sector, and we have to encourage the local steel manufacturers to increase their capacities. We have to bring Coal India to a level, or any other coal associations, coal companies, coal mining industry, to produce at least 1 billion ton coal from next year itself. Then situation will change. We must bring coal to liquid, coal to gas, coal to diesel, coal to olefins. These are the products which we can definitely do with 700, 800 or 600 billion ton of coal which God has given to us. We must try to use it today. Tomorrow it will be too late. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. V.R. Sharma, for enlightening us and sharing your experience on the current status, as well as enlightening on the need and requirement of future initiatives. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would invite Ms. Rasika Chaubey, IAS Additional Secretary, Ministry of Steel, and I'm sure everybody is awaiting very keenly for her address. Thank you.
Shri Rameshwar Prasadji, Special Secretary Niti Aayog, Shri V.R. Sharma, MD JSPL, Shri Ashok Kumar Bhuiya, Vice President KGS Ahluwalia Group, Shri Pankaj Satija, Chief Regulatory Affairs Tata Steel, Dr. Vinod Noel, Deputy Managing Director JSW, and Monica Bachchan, who is the founder of Metallurgic Products. First and foremost, I would like to thank Monica and Metallurgic for inviting Ministry of Steel. In fact, Secretary Steel was supposed to be here to deliver his address to you, but unfortunately because of his health he could not, and so I am representing him and the Ministry of Steel. And I would like to compliment Monica and her team for choosing this very apt topic, Mining 2020. I think this is something which is agitating the mind of everyone in the mining sector, the steel sector, and the people who are in the field, that is the miners, and especially it is concerned bothering and agitating the mind of the steel sector and in steel ministry for a very, very long time. In fact, I must share with you that just like you are concerned, we are equally concerned, because for us, whatever disruptions are taking place would impact our secondary steel sector the maximum, and that's why we are so concerned, and we have taken up this matter not only with Niti Aayog, who have formed a high-level committee for this purpose, but also with the mining ministry, where we have made several presentations. And I would like to take this opportunity to share with you what we have thought of this and what action has been taken by the Ministry of Mines on whatever we have done. Now, most of you would be aware that the provisions which exist in MMDR Act, which, especially the 12GG and the 12HH, which prescribe that, despite the lease being transferred, people are allowed, the older leaseholders are allowed to hold the leases for some time. So it is those things where we are concerned that in case the supply gets disrupted, and which may, though I must assure you that the kind of work Ministry of Mines is doing, I mean, they are very positive and very confident that not much disruption will take place. But despite that, we have been giving them certain data and which we felt was necessary for them to take certain decisions. And the first thing which we have in the ministry have done is try to identify how much is the likely shortfall. Now, all of you are aware that whatever we produce in I'll first come to iron ore. Whatever we produce in the country, we produce around 210 to 220 million tons in a year. And of that, around approximately only 170 to 180 is required by the steel sector. So there is actually a differential. Some of it is exported. And so when we worked out the figures, it came out that around 45 million tons of disruption would happen if it happens in 19, 20, 21. Now, what could be the action which we could take? So we listed out certain activities which we would follow. The first thing we thought was we have more control on the miners who are with us. Like we have NMDC, who's a merchant miner, and we could help them out in getting their mining leases renewed seamlessly. Donimalai has been an experience which did not happen, so we did not want that to happen again. And because of which we took up the matter with Ministry of Mines that if this could happen seamlessly, and you will all be aware that there's a recent order which says that instead of may, it should be shall. That means the state governments shall renew the lease if applied on time. So we expect that in future, whatever mines, and 4 of them are lapsing in Chhattisgarh in 2020, this would happen seamlessly. So as a result, the 25 million ton production which NMDC contributes would continue. Second action which we took was with the captive miner, that is SAIL. Now there are 2 things all of you would also be aware, that there is a huge stockpile which is available with SAIL, and they were not allowed to sell it because they are captive miners and they were not in a position to utilize it themselves. Now this 70 million tons, the figure which we have, which includes iron ore fines as well as slimes, we have got permission for SAIL to sell that, the entire lot. Now there is no time limit prescribed to them, but we in the ministry have asked them to make a roadmap, and which is being worked upon very and monitored on a more or less daily basis of how they would ensure that a certain quantity and how much quantity. So they feel around 20 million tons they will be able to make available to the open market in case there is a disruption. Now, third thing which we did was that just like the captive miners who get their mines after 2015, they are allowed to sell 25% of their production in the open market. We've got permission for SAIL to do that for 2 years. I mean, that's for a limited period, and that is again to meet this disruption. So these 3 things which we have done, and where Ministry of Mines have really held our hand and orders have already been issued, should go a long way in meeting the requirement in case disruption says. I'm repeating in case disruption because Ministry of Mines is working so hard, so I don't see, and I hope there is no disruption which happens, and but we are preparing a contingency plan for our steel makers in case there's any. Another thing which we had taken up and which was mentioned by Pankaj Sateja also, that there is around, apart from the 70 million ton accumulation by SAIL, there is, as per record, around 168 million ton of fines which are available across, which includes 70 million tons of SAIL, of which around 38 million ton is in that category, which comes just below 56 Fe content and up to 58 to 55 Fe content. So we have taken up the matter again with the Ministry of Mines, and that was also recommended very strongly by the the Niti Aayog high-level committee, that we must reduce the royalty rate on these fines so that people find it beneficial to do beneficiation and pelletization and utilize these fines rather than letting them accumulate on the pit heads. Now, there was an order which was issued, but due to some technical thing, they had to withdraw it temporarily. So we expect that the letter should be out again, and this would really benefit all those leaseholders who are in possession of these level of this mine at the mine heads. Now, another area which we try to touch upon is to request the Ministry of Mines to increase the size of the mining leases. Now, the reason we wanted to do this is because if the size of the mining leases are more than the 10 kilometers which has been prescribed, the miners are able to bring in technology, you are able to enhance your productivity, and that should also go a long way in aiding this disruption which may take place. So this is this has not happened exactly the way we have asked for right now, but definitely on a case-to-case basis, Ministry of Mines gives this kind of exemption to various state governments. So we expect that this could also facilitate production. Lastly, what we are doing again is that the miners which we have, that NMDC and SAIL, we are asking them to enhance their capacity, even the current existing capacity itself. Like for example, the ECFC clearances which NMDC have is up to 69 million ton. But the production which they do and which is needed is only around 32 to 35. Now, if nothing else works out, we would ask them to enhance their capacities at least and bring them to the level to which they already have existing clearances. So that is also another action plan which is being worked on. There's a lot of effort which is required there. There are a lot of clearances which are required to be taken. There are a lot of I think the evacuation methodology has to be worked out. They have to enhance their infrastructure. All those things are being monitored at the ministerial level, at the minister's level, and joint meetings between the two ministers, the Minister of Mine and Minister of Steel. So, in brief, what I wanted to just share with you is that what is your concern is our concern, and we are taking all out efforts and measures to ensure that the disruption doesn't take place. Apart from this, like, we have also thought of one or two other things, like, so that people who are interested in mines, the small ones, can participate, is to bring in the consortium approach in the auction process, so that people can join together as a consortium and participate in the tendering process. We've also taken up with mines that, the upfront costs which these people have to pay could also be reduced or maybe staggered over a period of time, so that these people, the small timers, not only can participate but don't find it extremely difficult for them. So these are several measures which we thought could help out. ECFC, bundling of ECFC is another issue which we have taken up, and that has been also very strongly recommended by Niti Aayog in their thing. So I do expect that Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change would consider this positively, and they're already working on it. And I think, and that is the reason we do not expect that if Ministry of Mines is able to do them the auction on time and the clearances come on time, which is the main cause of all the delay, we should be able to tide this over this 2020 issue. So I think I just thought I would share with you, and in case during the course of the day when you have your 3 or 4 sessions you're having, so we would expect that in case there is something which emerges which could be taken up by us and which we can facilitate, I would request Monica to prepare this kind of a paper for us. We would be very happy to see, and we'd like to take it forward. With this, I wish the session all the success, and hope you all have a wonderful and a fruitful meeting today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing not only Ministry's concerns and initiatives, but also